Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are here in the live stream on LinkedIn and Facebook. Myself and Coach Ari. I'm the marketing medulla. Allegra Jackson, the marketing medulla. Coach Aarionna Hamilton-Lusane. And we're just going to come back and dig into more about the entrepreneurial cycles, the truth about business. We were having a little discussion before this live, and it got a little deep even then. So we want to hear from you all as we have this conversation today. And I'm going to change the title, I think. Well, no. We're not talking about grieving physical and emotional loss today. We're actually talking more about just really more just generalizing the truth about business and talking about more of what that means. Because if we're being very honest about it, there's a lot of different perspectives about what it takes to run a business, right? There are some things that we pulled out in our live stream when we did it on Instagram last week. Okay, we did that real quick on Instagram. And let me put a little bit of a title here. What does that really mean? Because when we
I reposted it, like understanding how to identify what you need in your business. Like we want to talk about going from that, like really sitting down and identifying like what do you really need in your business.
And the truth about business really comes from the heart of what it means to you. Everybody has different truth and what that means, but honestly, we have all kind of gotten in this idea that it doesn't take a lot more than what we've been doing. So let's dig it a little bit into it. My name is Allegra. I'm the marketing medulla, and I am a business coach. I'm a marketing strategist and business analyst. Love to dig into your business and see what is working and what you can do better. There's business planning involved in that. There's marketing strategies, foundationally sound principles, and also having access to funding resources. And a lot of these things that we do in our business really takes more than just, starting an LLC and talking about a pitch and just saying, hey, give me money. It takes you actually maintaining the operations of your business day to day. And so I support you in making sure that you're coached in those aspects. My coaching programs are very selective, so you do have to qualify to work with me. But I will say, if you are in a place where you're not sure and you're just like, hey, I don't know if I need a business coach like Allegra because she's going to make me do this work every single day. And I don't know if I'm ready for all of that. And, we have Aarionna, the clarity coach. She's going to get your mindset together so that you know exactly who you need to work with and what you need to do. So I'm going to let Ari introduce herself, and we're going to get into this truth about business today. Go ahead, Ari.
Yes, hello. Good morning, everybody. I am Coach Ari, the clarity coach and mindset expert and strategist. And really, I come in those pieces of business to help you really get clear about your ideas, your vision, declutter your mind so that we can actually write it down, see clearly what is the target, what's the direction, and then strategize from there. I've focused heavily on mindset because without a clear mind, without the right mindset in business, you can't accomplish anything. So, my sauce is really helping you get very clear mentally. Then, so we can do what the Bible says, write the vision and make it plain. You can't make it plain if you're confused. You can't make it plain if it's all in your mind. You can't make it plain if you don't have it down where you can see it. So once we do that, then I help you really strategize selling strategies, marketing strategies, and teach you how to be very authentic in your marketing so that you can impact your industry and make those sales. But it all starts with that clarity of the mind. So I'm excited for this because the conversation of just really understanding what you need and how to get what you need, being mature about your truth. And we were saying like we were having a conversation pre getting on live, the fact versus the fairy tale. It's important. So I'm excited. I mean, let's see where we start.
Okay, digging in already. Well, thank you, Aarionna. So Ariana hinted towards something that is, I think, is really key here. And you said the keyword maturity. And I
Mhm.
want to highlight that word because a lot of us are in the stages where, my audience starts usually between 23 and 25, right? That's usually when my audience starts. And when I think about some of the, individuals that I work with, it's not the age that matters, right? Because there are different age groups that I work with, like in the 25 to 35 category,
Mhm.
that are doing things in business that are like so phenomenal that is blowing my mind. And I'll be like, you did what this week? And then I'll be like, okay, let me take note. Right. Because I've been an entrepreneur for 18 years, but I'm old school. Like, my marketing strategies, if I were to just go with whatever marketing strategy I learned back in, like, I'm not going to date myself, y'all, but back in the day. Okay. If I were to follow the marketing strategies that I learned back in the day and I never learned anything new, then I would literally be out here looking like a fool. And that's what a lot of times we're not learning from new processes and procedures. So I learn from even my clients, and the lower age range, they're usually very innovative and carefree. They don't mind using social media. They don't mind showing up on lives and just talking about whatever, right? And then I think about, the older demographic that I work with, and I'm just
Mhm.
like, it's just it's different for them because they'll be so concerned about image.
Mhm.
And, well, I don't use social media for fun like that. I just use it to communicate with my family members. And I'll be like, okay, cool. But you also have a business that needs to be present, right? You also need to learn how to use it so that you're presently there, but you don't have to, sell yourself short, just
Right.
to kind of just be telling everybody on your business. So there's a certain level that I saw there where there's a maturity mindset is what I want to call it. Right? There's a maturity mindset that even though the age group that I work with that's younger is thinking differently, like even though they're younger, they're more mature than the people who are 55, 65, 75 years old in their business. They're more mature in their business because they're not blocked by like, okay, I don't want to show up looking like that, so let me not show up. No, they're like, oh, I gotta show up. Okay, let me do it. And then after they do it, they go, oh wow, like that's crazy. I didn't know that I would have reached like one of my reels. And I'm gonna just say it like this and let you go, Ari, because this is a conversation we're just starting. This gonna get deep. But one of the reels, like it was like a random reel that I did, and I do a lot of tests on my social media pages, and it got like, I don't know, like 500,000 views or something like that, right? And it was like the bulk of what my followers were. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you start to see where you can use certain content that relates to your brand that, works for you. But most people won't even consider it because they're like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. Oh, no, I don't want to try that. Why? Oh, well, because, I'm not sure and I don't like the way that looks, or, I don't know if that's not really what people want to see. But how do you know if you never try it? How do you know if you never test your market to see if that's the content they want to see? And maturity says, let me focus on what my audience wants from me, opposed to what I feel like I want to post, what I feel like I want to do in my business every day, what I feel like, and this is part of the emotions, right? Because the truth about business is that we use our emotions, and that's what stops us from doing real good business. So if you feel like you want to do something, but your audience is not agreeing with that feeling, then what is the purpose of doing it? That's what maturity says to me.
So it's interesting when you're talking about the age range and the different mentalities. I think a part of it is because our generation and a little bit under us, we practice self discovery. We practice habits like, why do I do this? Why is this happening? And I think in a certain generation that you're talking about, that wasn't a thing. You just kind of deal and keep it moving. You don't deal. You don't take the time to really unpack and pull back the layers. You act like it doesn't exist. You went through something, shut your mouth about it, keep quiet, keep going. So, but our generation is like, no, why is this happening? I don't like my life this way. I don't have to accept this. So then that mentality goes into our businesses that says, okay, this is not working. Why is it not working? What do I have to do to fix it? What, like, there's this interesting dynamic of the clients that I coach, like you said, in different age groups, and getting them to understand showing up live where people can touch and feel and experience you is necessary. But there is that age bracket that feels like, well, I don't want to do that. Like, why do I have to do that? Why do they need to get to know me? Because there is a generation that was raised in, hey, what goes on in my house is in my house. My business is my business. But our generation is like, I'm open book. Like, what difference does it make? You can't judge me. So the mentalities are drastically different, which is why you see so many young millionaires and so many broke older business owners, because the mentality is drastically different. We don't have the same hangups. We don't have the same mental blocks. We don't have the same trauma of, you see something, don't say nothing. What goes on in my house is in my house. And don't get me wrong, there is a space for that. But when that's all you know, then you carry that mentality into everything, because you were not taught that there is a time and place for everything. So my kids don't need to go out and have conversations with everybody about what we talked about in my house. That's not, no. But you don't keep secrets. Also, like, we don't keep secrets. That's not a thing in my house. We're not running around. So no. We don't keep secrets. And if you're ever in trouble, so all that to say, there's a drastic mentality, culture, generational difference that impacts how we do business. And I'm gonna say it again. That is why there's so many 21-year-olds, 25-year-olds, 26 that are millionaires running circles around people who have the experience, the credibility, the knowledge, the wisdom. They're running circles around them because we don't have the same mental blocks. So you don't have to fight me to fall down and get back up. You don't have to tell me, with that younger age bracket that you're talking about in business, that 20, 25, 34, like, we're not afraid to fail. We don't care. Like, maybe failure is a part of the process. But the older generation, failure is a smudge on your family name. It's a smudge on who you are, your character. So then when we're coaching that mentality, it's hard to get them to understand, like, you think you need this, but really you need to, like, heal from trauma. You really need to, we talk about breaking generational curses. No, you really have some generational curses, which are mentalities that were taught to you that you need to break because they're stopping you from business success. And it's not that you can't have the same success as the younger generation, but because you won't deal with those mentality blocks and those generational mindsets that you've been taught that are keeping you stagnant and stuck, you can't move forward. So that was really deep. I don't know, but that's what came up for me when you start talking about the difference in the generations and the ages. I'm like, ooh, it's because we don't have the same mindset blocks. We don't have the same mentalities. So I don't know. That's deep.
I wonder if our audience agrees. We have people in different categories of age range. And if you are, between 25 and 35, let us know if you have, a problem with showing up and getting on social media and just talking about your business. Is this something that affects you? And sometimes we talked about being introverted. Sometimes we talked about, being shy. Sometimes, and we just talked about the difference in age ranges and how you just said that maybe there's some trauma involved there where, if we show up and we failed and don't look really good. I think that has a lot to do with it. But then here's another thing. I'm just going to go to the practical side because y'all know how I am. Ooh. I don't get to the mindset stuff. Y'all go over there. Like, listen, there's something about I think that we all have to work on our mindset. Don't get me wrong. Like I do. But if you're constantly working on your mindset every single day, then you know what I'm saying? Like you're not going to tolerate a lack of. And I just don't tolerate a lack of. So when people are like, oh, I have a mindset block, or, oh, I just can't, the word can't bothers me. It really bothers me when people say I can't do something. I took that out of my vocabulary years ago. There is just nothing that you cannot do. There's nothing. And when people say, hey, like I can't, I'm like, ugh. Like it's like that in, you like throw up inside your mouth. You're like, okay, they just said it. They said it. So, I feel like sometimes we have to be careful of our words, right? Be careful of the way that we speak to ourselves. I'm that way. So for me, mindset is something that Aarionna can deal with. But, you said something that I thought was really amazing. Sonia said, I'm 57, and yes, it's difficult for me to show up on social media. However, I have and I will. Yes. So Sonia is like, I'm going to do it regardless. And that's what I love. Like, this is the mindset shift that I think is so important, especially if you are in a place where you may be in a different age range, right? And that's why I say that's where maturity comes into play. Because what will it really require of you? Like this thing that we call business, we're in the fourth industrial revolution. We got flying cars, okay? Like this is where we're at. We have flying cars. Whether you want to realize that we live in a world where things are AI, there's like digital things in a space where people are actually investing money, where things are just digital, okay? Like we're in a space where things have shifted. And so if you're not understanding things like technology, this is big for me, right? And that's why I said, let's get it to a technical side, because if you don't understand technology, and this is what I've seen, because this is why we have like, I don't know, some of my, I think we did a couple announcements on social media, but me and my clients have been talking about this for a while. It's not that you don't want to show up on social media sometimes. Sometimes it's like you don't know which button to push. Like it can be just that simple. And the embarrassment behind saying I don't know, I think has a lot to do with that same trauma that you're talking about. Like, because if I feel like not knowing something is a failure, which it's not a failure to know something, to not know something. It is your responsibility. And this is something that I think I had to grow backbone to over time myself, right? Because I remember in school, I would be like, okay, I don't want to be the one to answer the question, because if I get it wrong, I'm going to be upset, right? Like everybody's going to look at me like, oh, she got it wrong, ha ha ha. So it's that like shame and embarrassment or whatever. But you have to be able to just like be the kid that raises their hand in class. You got to be just like that in your business every single day. Every single day, you have to be the one to always ask for support, ask for help, ask the right questions. That's why when we used to do Clubhouse rooms, Aarionna, we used to have like, I think in the women in business one, when we did those rooms, there was like 50 to 80 people sitting in the audience. And no one would come up to ask questions. And it would blow my mind, because I'll be like, what the heck? Like, just asking a simple question will help you get the support that you need to get the help. And sometimes it could be something as simple as, hey, how do I find the replay here on Clubhouse? Somebody asked me that in the room the other day. We went right through the step-by-step, and I said, you know what? I'm going to do a screenshot step-by-step for y'all. That was just that simple. But because they asked the question, now they have the technological experience and knowledge to go move forward in what they needed to do. Now, if you're older, and this is why I think your point is taken well, and I'll end with this, okay? And then we can move on to whatever else, because we're talking about, are you mature enough to be at the level you really want to be on, okay? Like, that's really what we're talking about. And Aarionna said, when you're older, it is more difficult, but you can still be mature enough to get the knowledge and support that you need to get where you need to go, right? Whether it's showing up on social media or whatever that may be. But at the end of the day, if you know that you need support in an area where, sorry, y'all, we're an area where you don't know something technical and you feel ashamed to ask the question, like, hey, how do I push the button? That is a self-sabotaging behavior that I believe is taught to a lot of us when we're in 9-to-5 spaces. And I'm just, only because I'm doing a series, I've had series on this before, I've done my research, and I get it, I've been there, I've done it. But we're taught when we're at work to not ask questions, right? We're taught to just stay in your lane, right? Just do your job, put your head down. Like, we're not taught to actually get more information, especially if there's if you got a really good job, they may send you out and give you more training, send you out to the conference. But honestly, they're mostly doing that so you can bring that back to the team, okay? But you just benefit from getting that extra knowledge. So if you don't take the notes and do the work, you're not going to really retain that information anyway. But we're not taught to get more knowledge naturally ourselves, to educate ourselves more, to be on top of our game when it comes to our mindset and our thinking about, okay, what do I need to learn next? What do I need to learn next? What do I need to learn next? So when you get in your business, you go, oh, I'm here. But then you have to show up on social media, but you never learn how to work the functions. You never learn how to actually interview people to get on your channels. You never learn how to speak on stages so you can actually speak well. So those can be really simple things that you can learn, y'all. And I can tell y'all how to do it, but I want to stop there because Karan said, oh, absolutely. Ari nailed it with the why do I have to be on social media? Understanding that the world I grew up in doesn't exist in business, and it's a matter of minding your mind or getting left behind. Oh my God. All right, go ahead.
Okay, boom. Because so much has opened up for me from you talking. I have so many different perspectives. So, one thing is, I remember I did a speaking engagement and I simply taught on the mindset of failure. I tell people, everybody on here, you need to identify what failure is to you. Because based off of how you were raised, how your mind was cultivated, how your space was, your environment, you identify failure a certain way. Nobody in here is identifying failure by the dictionary. Nobody. We are identifying failure by whatever we have formulated in our minds. And so you have to identify what failure is to you so that you can combat it, right? The way to get rid of things like fear, failure, doubt, you have to face it. So that's number one. Like this, and we were discussing it before we got on live. This fictitious space of that failure actually exists is how the devil is keeping us all stuck, because failure doesn't exist. You understand that Thomas Edison, right, creator of the light bulb, he had to fail a bunch of times to get it right. This concept that failure is bad and that it's negative is exactly what's keeping you from being mature enough in your business to make the decisions that's going to get you further. Failure is necessary. You literally have to go out and try and see what doesn't work to be able to get the formula that works. And so what the devil has done is he's used this fear tactic, because you won't identify failure and then face it for yourself, that, oh my God, if you do this, if you get on live, if you start showing up this way, you're going to fail because you just don't know. Until this point, then we're in this space of that. And this is the older generation. No knock. Okay. I'm 34. So I mean, no knock. But I don't care about asking questions. I need the answers. And if you got the answers, baby, I don't know how to do nothing. First of all, let me just break it all the way down to the Bible, because that's my bag. The Lord tells you to be as dumb as a sheep. He tells you just live your life like you don't know nothing and you have to ask me for everything. If we practice that in our spiritual life, we would be dumb enough to actually do it in business where you can get the answers. Because this old school mentality of, don't ask for help. A woman should be able to take care of her house on her own. No, bump that. I need all the help. Where's my mom? Where's my aunt? Where's my cousin? Where is, baby, let me tell you something. My daughter has a volleyball coach that loves her down. She take her to basketball game. She bring her home, take her to eat. If I can't bring her home, like I need all the help. But I was not raised that, a strong Black woman is the one that takes on all. Absolutely not. A strong Black woman is the one who goes, oh God, okay, hold on. Woo, you already know. Now I'm in my bag. Because even the Proverbs 31 woman, she was efficient and effective. She was a business owner. Go read about her. She was creating scarves and things like that. She was out there selling, and then she was coming home and she was rocking and rolling. She was a wise woman. Wisdom says, I'm going to use all of my resources. So if you're in your business and you're not using resources, you're unwise. And a lot of people have been taught an unwise way of thinking because the generations before us didn't know no better. And I get it. Like, I'm not blaming who came before us. I'm saying that it's not wise. It's not wisdom. God did not put me here to work myself to the ground, to the bone, and be broke, busted, and disgusted as a mom. I'm not doing it. I'm going to pay somebody to clean my house. We're gonna go to the laundromat and wash all these clothes in one big thing. And when I get to the point where I'm gonna pay them to fold the clothes, like that's so then in my business, I have no problem investing in what I need. But see, here's the other piece. You guys have to sit down and be honest about what you need. Because some of y'all may not need a mindset coach. You may need to pay somebody to do your marketing. Some of y'all may not need marketing. You may absolutely need mindset. Some of y'all need a therapist. What do you really need? And that takes you being very honest and mature to say, this is what I need. And I was telling Allegra on the phone that I try to tell people you only made the wrong investments because you didn't know what you need. So you need to sit down and take the time and really ask yourself, what am I really struggling with in my business? What am I for real struggling with? I think most people will find they got to start at mindset. Some people will find, it's not the mindset part. I really need strategy. Whatever space you're in is fine, but be mature enough to identify where you're landing so that you can make the right investments, because it takes money to make money. The Bible says you reap what you sow. So you can't get around the systems that God has put in place. They work everywhere. So a lot of this trauma, and like I said, going back to the way the devil has really tripped a lot of people up, is the fear of failure. When at the end of the day, the only way we're successful is because we could decide to keep messing up. So I can figure out how to do it right. I just keep messing up so that I can see, okay, this is how this works. Do you understand that millionaires became millionaires because they decided to keep messing up? They decided to keep trying and say, okay, that didn't work. Okay, cool. So let me tweak this. And then, and I'm about to stop, I'm shutting down, I promise. To Allegra's side of the business, they track their progress. So you don't want to track your sales. You don't want to track your numbers. You don't want to track your progress. You don't want to track your cycles, like what we're talking about. Me and Allegra did a celebration live for me last week, right? Because I realized Allegra pointed out to me that I was in a cycle in my business and I broke the cycle. I had to be mature enough to hear her tell me the hard truth as my biz bestie. Bestie, you're stuck in a cycle. This don't make sense. You were here last year and you know what to do. You just keep not doing it because you're getting overwhelmed and stressed. So I had to take the data, and data is not just about my Instagram numbers. This was real life data that I was ending up in the same freaking place every year. Some of y'all about to go to 2024 in the same freaking mess because you won't analyze your cycles. You won't analyze your habits. You won't analyze your thought processes. You won't analyze, man, I launch a program and I sell 2 and then I just disappear. That's a problem. That's a cycle. I don't know how to work LinkedIn, so I just don't get on it. Problem. Just get the help. She's going to do a tech, she's offering a tech training. Take the tech training. I'm offering an impact workshop. Take the workshop. But we lack maturity. We lack honesty. We live in fairy tale land that says, well, if I keep doing what I'm doing, it's going to change. And the definition of that is called insanity, actually. To continue to do the same thing over and over and not get the results that you desire is actually not the definition of success. It's the definition of insanity. So you keep living the same year on repeat because you won't get out of fairy tale land into facts. The facts are, I'm bad at technology. I need to get somewhere where I can learn how to work these doggone social media platforms because, to Karan's point, it is a different world. It is going to continue to shift and change. And you're right, either get the mindset to get it or get left behind, right? Okay, I don't know how to talk to people. I don't know how to get my message out there. I don't know how to convey my mission. I don't know how to impact people with what I have to say. I stumble over my words. Well, freaking get with somebody who can help you. And then do the thing. Understanding that Thomas Edison couldn't build the light bulb until he just did it wrong a bunch of times. Then it finally turned out right. So it's like, do you want to be Jasmine from down the street, which we don't know who that is, or you want to be Gerber and Pampers and Les Brown? Those are all names, big names, because they decided that I'm just going to continue to fail until I get to the top. Okay, take it back, because take it back.
Wait, did you just say Jasmine from down the street? Bruh,
Jasmine, Joe, Barbara.
Barbara from the block. Okay, listen, such a heavy word. Sandra says so true. You invest in the wrong things because your vision is not clear. Someone said what they say, take messy action. Got to track your progress, break the cycle. So, this is really true. We're talking about, what it will require from you, because you got to discover if you're mature enough for the level you really want to be on. We all talk about this, right? We're like, oh, we want to be business owners. Well, being a business owner is another level. I mean, that's another level in itself, because you can't go from, and I teach this a lot in my spaces. So that's why it always comes back to this, because we're not actually identifying what level we're realistically mentally on and what we need to do to mentally get to the next level, right? Because everything is a mind shift. It doesn't matter what you do. Like, you could physically do something, but if you're not mentally there or mentally ready for it, like, you're going to flunk. Like, you're going to flunk out. It could be a test. It could be a speaking engagement. It could be anything. So, I think about business ownership being a level of maturity that you have to have, because you're now in a place where everything that you do is reflecting on your business, right? Like, if you decide, and this is what we said, right? Let's be mature. Like, let's be mature, y'all. We said in one of our rooms, I think it's a series we did last year or the year before, and we said some of the truths in our business was that we had to get up earlier, and that was not something that was easy to do, right? Like, if you're like, okay, in order for me to get more done in my day, I have to get up at 5 a.m. in the morning. Like, I still struggle with getting up in the morning. Like, my body be like tired, especially if you do a lot over the weekend. But the point is that I still get up at 5 a.m. in the morning, and if you're not willing to put yourself in a position to be honest, to say, I'm not getting up early enough to do what I need to do in my business. I'm not making enough time for myself and my business. I'm not investing enough money in my business and myself in my personal development. When you said, Aarionna, be mature enough to get the help and support you need, this is what it really takes, okay? And this is why I want to break it down before we go to the next one. If you're like, hey, I don't know how to speak well, then go take a public speaking class. Go get a go get a voice coach. go to your local, what is it? What is that local thing that they do where they teach you how to get on public stages? Not the TEDx, but the Toastmasters. Okay. I did Toastmasters for, I don't know, maybe like 3 months or so. And I also did a lot in college, right? I did a lot of speaking stages in college with, the programs that I was in. But the bottom line is that if you've never spoke on a stage, if you've never spoken in front of public, like that's one of the big, that's one of the number one fears outside of like something else. What was it? Or the number one stresses outside of moving, speaking on public stages. So if that's like the number one stress for people, how are you going to master that just because you decided to get an LLC or you decided to sign a dotted line and say, I have a business? Like, what made you so prepared for that next level? What made you so prepared to say, you know what, I've been getting up at 8 o'clock for my job every single day, but now I got to get up at 5 a.m. to be able to work on my business every single day? So, what is going to put you in a position to train yourself to get up at 5 a.m. in the morning every single morning? Right? Sometimes that means you may need to join a group or a program that gets your behind up and accountable every single morning. Sometimes you need to have your alarm clock set earlier in the morning. Sometimes you need to have someone in your space that's accountable to you and says, hey, get your butt up in the morning. I'm going to call you if you don't text me at 5 a.m. Do whatever you got to do. But the point that I'm making is that if we're not mature enough to say it's a business that I'm running and it's not a job I'm just going to. And that's another level of maturity that I need to be on. So what am I doing to make sure that I have the skill set, I have the knowledge? Because sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. You're like, I don't know what I'm not doing right. You just don't know. So you got to get the information. But what are you doing to actually put yourself in position to get those things and to be prepared? It's going to require you to ask for help and to be more mature about decisions that you make. That's not easy. I'm going to go to the next one. But Aarionna, before we go over, anything you want to add?
Well, really quickly, like literally, Ariana, be quick. I wanted to say about the 9 to 5 mentality. When you had touched on a piece that I just wanted to throw out there that in the 9 to 5, you're taught to just be quiet, and they sell you on this dream of you can come in, you can ask questions, we're gonna, we believe in employee growth and blah blah blah, and then you get in there and you find out no, what they believe in is you doing your job and staying exactly where we put you, and depending on the hierarchy system there, we might let you go up depending on how much we like you, not really based off of your talents, your gifting, your resources, whichever. Here's the great thing: you're an entrepreneur. So nobody can hold you down. There's no ceiling. There's no boss. My CEO is God. That's it. That should be your CEO, your boss, who you answer to. So you do have to break this mentality that says, don't ask. People aren't going to help me. Don't ask. They're going to look down on me. Don't ask. It's going to make them believe that I'm not who I say I am, or blah, 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 blah. All those things keep you stuck. There's so much pride in entrepreneurship, and that pride leaves you broke. The Bible says it very clearly. The pride come before, the warning come before destruction. That pride is a haughty fall. Like, it's a big fall because I don't want you to really know that I'm struggling with this and I'm trying to keep up a perception. And that's 9 to 5 mentality. You got to keep up a perception. You got to keep up this look. I remember working jobs like, I'm a mom first, I'm this, that, and other. I'm going to lay it out for you real good. And if it don't work for you, that's cool, because it don't work for me. Okay? And I had no problems with it, but you're taught to have this facade, and the facade keeps you broke. It is very prideful. So you just have to be careful with that, experiences teach us things unconsciously. And so I just wanted to say that, because what you said is right. You may unconsciously be moving in that mentality, because in that 9 to 5 world, you're taught to just play your part. Stay where you're at. If I like you enough, I'll let you go up. Some people come from working with men, so women, it's a whole thing. But yeah, go ahead to the next page. I just want to point that is a
Yeah,
thing.
that's a whole nother series. And that's why I'll be bringing back the how to leave your 9 to 5 mindset, because there's just such a heavy weight on us when it comes to going from entrepreneur to CEO. I mean, from employee to CEO, from employee to entrepreneur. There's a weight there because we have to know what that shift looks like. And nobody talks about it out the door. Like when I first started my business, nobody was like, so before you start your business, I want to make sure you understand what it's going to look like. Okay. So let's walk through the steps. It was nobody there to tell me that, right? It was just trial and error, like you said, Ari. And so if we're not very realistic about the fact that it's going to take something to make that shift, and we're already telling you right now, like it doesn't matter if you're 25 or 55, it's going to take a shift of some kind to go from thinking, okay, someone told me what to do every day, when to come to work, when to take my break, when to do the work, what kind of work to do, how to do it, how often, right? Someone told you that every single day. They even told you how much you were going to get paid. Like someone told you every single day of your life how much you could get paid. And it was a glass ceiling to the point where you knew, like, okay, I could get paid but so much in this position. So when you go to a business and you start a business where there is no glass ceiling, there is nothing and no one telling you what to do every day in your business. There's no one telling you how to structure that business. I mean, they can give you a skeleton, but you got to be the one to say, this is what my vision stands for. This is how I want to approach my audience. This is how I want to do business. You have to determine that. And if you're used to someone telling you how to do things every single day, baby, we got to get to a different level of maturity of thinking. Because now you're coming out of a childish type way of thinking, right? Because when you're a child, I told Aarionna before, when you're a child, somebody give you money, and this is what happens with our employers. They give us money, and we go splurge it. Well, okay, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy that, and at the end of the paycheck, you're like, dang, where'd my money go? That's immature. Because when you're a kid, if your parent gives you money, you're going to run out to the store, you're going to spend it, you're going to come back with candy and juice and snacks and be like, where's your money? And be like, I spent it. And the same thing we do in our business. I spent it. But if you are in business, which is different, you're not spending, you're investing. So when you actually are putting your money somewhere, you don't have the money in the account to do things you want to do, you're not like out of pocket because you're like, oh no, that's an investment. I'm going to get that back. That's coming back. So we got to have a maturity thinking. The next thing was, and we got to end with this because we've been talking too long about that first one. The next thing was, how are you building your team? But listen, I don't even talk about that. This is the one I want to talk about. Can we just skip over and can we go to the last one? Okay, because something that Aarionna, let me make sure that I'm not gonna, my computer is charging here. I said something on a call earlier that Aarionna, I think we both kind of like had a kind of like gasped at. And y'all not gonna like this, okay? Some of y'all are gonna log off and you're gonna be like, they are crazy. I don't like them. Like if it hit your soul, then this is you. This is really you. If this hits your soul in a way where you're really uncomfortable and you log off, this is just know it's you. We said that sometimes people are a slave to stress, money, and other people's approval. Okay. Like people are afraid not to be liked. And I would say this because, listen, this is crazy because it's true. It's true. It's true. The truth about business is that the higher you go in your success, the more people are not going to like you. Like that's the truth. The truth about business is that when you start to be successful, like you expect people to celebrate you. That's just the natural reaction we all have, right? When I first started my business, I was like, I remember I first got like a really large contract, and I was like telling everybody in my family, I'm like, yes, like, I got this large contract, like, you just having conversation, okay, and they just nodding and okay, whatever. I don't know what that means, but okay, cool. And you kind of get discouraged, like, well, dang, like you ain't happy for me type thing. Like, okay, so that's a hit in the gut. So then you start to actually, and this is funny because I remember over time, y'all, as I started building my business, as I became more successful and more successful, I'm thinking, this is my thinking, and y'all could judge me later, okay? I don't care. This was my thinking. I was like, well, I'll just do more and be more successful, and then they'll celebrate it. So it was actually a motivation, y'all. When people didn't celebrate me and I had like really good wins that I thought was really good, I was like, oh, they think it's a game. Oh, okay, they talk about some of my little business. Okay. So I got real buck, and I started to look at, well, what can I do more in my business to show that I am successful? And even though it got my business to where it was, right, at the time, it was me being enslaved to people's approval. It was like, because to be honest with you, when it came down to some of the things that I was doing in my business, I wasn't really focused, right? Because I was so like, oh, okay, if I just, get this contract, then I can announce to everybody that I got this contract. Not to say that the contract was the best contract for me, right? Because sometimes you can take deals with people and things that don't get you to the next level. They just put money in your pocket. So a lot of the stuff that I was doing in my business was just putting money in my pocket, but it wasn't actually getting me to the next level of success because my mentality was all jacked up. Because I was like, well, I need to be celebrated, and they need to know how big Allegra is, how big my business is. They need to understand that I'm the one, I'm the curse breaker. I'm the one. And you know what? It wasn't until, and I'm not even going to talk about stress or money, y'all. We're just talking about people, okay? When you're a slave to people's approval, everything that you do goes against your purpose. It goes against the real true reason why you even exist, like why you even do business, right? Because that is an amplification of your purpose. That's how you express your win to the world. And so I just think it's so interesting that this came up, Ari, because I wanted to share that part about my experience, and maybe you have a story too about how maybe you were a people pleaser and you wanted to, really impress people, but I'll explain later how I, got out of that. But go ahead, Ari.
I'm like cracking up. So one thing we identify when we're talking about this, you guys, is that a lot of people, the problem with being a people pleaser is that people know that they kind of have this power over you, right? So when I first started speaking a lot on Clubhouse, people pleasing was like a huge thing. And I listened to so many people talk about how my mama said this, my daughter said this, my cousin said this, my daddy said this. They didn't say that, da 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 da, blah 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 blah. My spouse, just so many things. And the people pleasing, the tricky part about it is people know that they have that power over you, that if they say something, you will yield, you will shift, you will complace, you will stagnate, you'll do all the things. And you have to understand that people who understand that they have that power over you, they're only saying things because your growth makes them uncomfortable. So I'm going to use the power that I know that you gave me, because they didn't get it from nobody else but you. You gave them the power of people pleasing over you. I'm going to use that power to keep you where you're at, because you growing and succeeding and moving forward makes me uncomfortable. It makes me have to look at the fact that I'm not doing anything. It makes me have to look at the fact that I could be doing more and I'm just choosing not to. So I'm going to continue to say things to you because I know you're a people pleaser. that's the biggest problem for me. Biggest problem. The next thing is that, see, for me, I understand I'm trying to please God. I don't really, I don't really care about the rest of y'all. And that's just my fact. That's my honest truth. I don't really care. I don't care about the rest of y'all. I'm trying to please God. Now, I did go through a portion of my life where I was a people pleaser because of the way I was raised. And I love my mom. My mom did the absolute amazing best. She made me the woman that I am. But there's this mentality that was, taught unconsciously or unconsciously. I believe there's a lot of things that we grew up with that as parents, you just don't know how it's going to shape the mind and the outcome of the kid. So, we grew up with, hey, you please your mom. Like, you do what mom says, da, 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 blah, 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 blah. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I deal with my kids, like, dude, I do all of this. Like, you can at least hold your part. But the way that I internalized it was to be a people pleaser because I just wanted to make my mom happy. I just wanted, her to be good. My mom went through a lot when we were kids. My father, her husband got shot and killed. Like, there was a lot of trauma that my mom went through. So I grew up being a people pleaser unconsciously. Yeah, I don't think she was teaching me and wanted to teach me that, but I had to come into my own to understand that everything I do is not going to be agreeable. It's not going to make everybody happy. But again, going back to the beginning of the conversation, because my generation came into this self-awareness, I was like, well, I can't like make you happy at the expense of my happiness. Like, I'm miserable. I'm completely miserable. And it's crazy to not do something that's going to fulfill my purpose just because you don't like it. Like, it's what? And so I think we have to first, you have to ask yourself, why do you want to please these people? And I like kind of the example that you said about yourself was, I thought if I was more successful, they would celebrate me. And then you come to learn that if you ain't celebrating me, if you ain't shooting with me in the gym, if you ain't celebrating with me in the trenches, I don't need your applause when the light comes on, because then it's false. You're applauding me because you want something, right? And so all of this attention seeking and approval that we're desiring really should be one pointed towards God. And I think here's the truth, sis. I believe this. God put that inside of us because our desire to please should be directed towards Him. But again, when you're not clear, when you don't have that foundation, when you don't have the understanding, the thing that was put inside of you to really access the abundant life, you give it to other people. And it's no different than a lot of people, trying to do a lot of things because they're trying to satisfy a spiritual hunger. Like, the desire to please is in us. But I'm the only person I'm trying to please is God. I had to break that off of me with my mom. Like, hey, listen, I'm on a journey. Like, I gotta do what God called me to do. So if you don't like it, so be it. And then here's what you find out. The genuine people that really love you, they gonna stick by you. It may be a transition for them. It may be hard for them, the pill to swallow, but they'll stick by you. So it's dangerous to be a people pleaser in business. It is very dangerous because you have to understand that your ability to outlive the norm, to live outside the box, to break generational curses, to do things that has never been done in your family makes people uncomfortable. It makes your friends uncomfortable when you are here killing the game. I'm too busy to have a listen. I begin to the point where like, hey, I'm too busy to have a casual conversation. It's no not like I'm busy. I gotta. It makes people have to look and say, what am I doing? I ain't got nothing going on. So of course they're gonna try to make you feel bad because misery loves company. So now let me make little comments and little puck shots and little enduos and let me say, oh, you changed. You're right. Because I thought that's what we was all trying to do was change. You think you big stuff now because your business popping. Well, I thought we was all trying to live in the abundant life. I'm confused. Oh, now you have to struggle. You forgot where you came from. I thought we was all trying to get out the struggle. I don't want to remember that. Like, I'm confused. I thought we were, But you have to understand that your success makes people uncomfortable. That's why you have to stop being a people pleaser, because it just makes them uncomfortable. When Allegra gets, let me tell y'all, for 2 years, real quick, and then I'm done. Allegra would hit this stride every year, y'all. She would hit this stride where she just started banging out like boom, 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 boom. And you probably didn't even know I watch you like this, but I do. I watch anybody successful around me, like, bro, I'm watching. So she would hit this point of the year, y'all, where all of a sudden, baby was kicking out like workshops left and right, and this program, and this conversation, and blah, 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 and this, da, 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 da. I mean, she just slamming it. And I'm like, I'm late. I'm freaking late again. Like, God dang it, I am late again. What am I doing? And I'm telling you, I would be like, oh my God, I'm behind the ball. I'm behind the ball. And reels is going, bah, 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 bah. I'm telling you, she get this stride at this specific time. I'm not going to tell you the time of the year because it's none of your business. It's for us. But she hits this stride. And every time for the last 2 years or so that we've been knowing each other, I would be like, I'm behind. I'm behind. I'm behind. I'm behind. Because when you have people in your life who are not in competition with you, they are not trying to outdo you or anything like that. They are genuinely in your life to help you be better. That is healthy. And I don't think we understand what healthy relationships are. So she had no idea that I'd be sitting over here like, I'm late. Here I go again. And I'm registering this, and I'm like, get on your stuff, get on the ball, learn how the quarters work, and da 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 blah 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 blah. And I would watch her, and I would see her, and it would inspire me. You can't be around people who are intimidated by your growth. And I don't know what for the life of me, y'all want to stay in places that are intimidated by you. You are shooting yourself in the foot. You cannot keep staying in places where people are intimidated. They will suffocate. Listen to me, and I'm letting it go. You cannot afford to stay in the same circles, the same relationships, the same partnerships that you've been in 2024. They will suffocate your business, and we will not be able to find you. Because that spirit comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And I know everybody walking around the world like they don't exist, baby. It exists. That's why half the people that you saw on Clubhouse or wherever else, you can't even find them. They ain't got no business. They went back to 9 to 5. They're gone. They ain't coming back. So get around the right people so that you don't have to people please. I don't have to people please with Allegra. That's my biz bestie. We have healthy ways that we push each other, we support each other, and all of these things. But you have to decide. It's a decision to say, I'm not going to be a people pleaser no more. I'm not putting myself in those boxes. And I'm going to intentionally put myself around people that are healthy for my growth, that do not let me stay comfortable, but they push me to my best self. And if that's not the circle that you have right now, I would run faster than I've ever ran before, because you cannot afford to be suffocated in 2024. That's it. I'm done.
That's going to be hard. That's going to be hard. That's a hard pill to swallow, Ari. To actually get rid of people in your life that, need you. Oh, but what would they do? I can't not be in their life. Like, they need me, right? There are really a lot of situations where there are toxic relationships that we've had for a very long time, and we feel like, well, we're strong enough to just handle being an aid to them. But honestly, we just said people are afraid not to be liked. So we got to actually come to a self-awareness. Okay. And this is something we're doing in the Business Mastery membership. And I have to say this because this is the end of the year, last season time to start thinking about, what do I want to be next year, right? Everybody likes to graduate to next year for some reason in December. So let's become more self-aware. What is it that you need to do, or you need to be aware of within yourself, that you are not really paying attention to? When we were talking about people having a problem with not being liked, people pleasing, there are things that we do that I even looked it up, that it was talking about where it talks about that. And I've seen people do this. This is crazy. All right, y'all, let's break it down. You pretend to agree with everyone. Like, and this is something so simple that I think that a lot of times we just be like, oh, I'll just keep my mouth shut because, you don't have to always say what you feel or whatever like that. But I've seen people be in clubhouse rooms. I've seen people be in different spaces, and somebody is saying something that is so asinine and so wrong. And then later on, they'll be like, I can't believe they said that because, it's just like, that's not really what that means, or that's not what. I'm like, why don't you say nothing? Why were you nodding your head? Why were you down there acting like you was part of the crowd? Like we do, and we do this in business too. We'll get in rooms with people because we want their money or we want their approval, and we just agree with them. Then it talks about, or we pretend to agree with them, even though you feel different. Child, stop lying to people with your disagreements, quiet disagreements. You feel responsible for how other people feel. I don't know how many times I've come across someone that said, oh, I feel bad because they left the room on Clubhouse. So what? Like, if you don't hurt them people's feelings and let them deal with it, some of the things that we have to say when it comes to our message in business, it has to hurt people's feelings. Did you know that? Like, did you know that in order for you to actually produce the results that you need to produce in your business, if you don't say the thing that's going to hurt that person's feeling, then they'll never change. They'll never get to a point of revelation of, dang, that hurt enough for me to think about it. So if we're feeling responsible for how people feel, what we do is we go, oh, well, I don't want to say anything to hurt their feelings. So then you don't say what's really on your mind. So then you don't say what you really need to say to get that person to their transformation. You don't really say, and this is another thing. Let me tell you something. If your website is crap, if your business is crap, if you're showing up looking like crap, I'm going to tell you. Like, it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not you could. No, listen, that does not look good. You need to change it. Because if you think that, telling someone that something looks good or is good, is going to help them, it's not. It's just you being a people pleaser. And especially when it comes down to someone that you may call a friend or someone that you may call a biz bestie or whatever. If you see something that don't look right, say something. Say something. Stop trying to like hold on to people's feelings. Another thing that they say, I'm going to end with this one, and then we got to end with the last comments, y'all. You apologize a lot. I'm sorry. Have you ever been in a situation where you apologize for something that you didn't even do? Like somebody bumps into you in the grocery store and you apologize? Or like somebody... You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to be real about why, because this is all embedded in us. And because I work with women entrepreneurs, this is what I want to say, because this is mainly where my focus is a lot. Sandra said, you don't have to get rid of them, but set thick boundary lines. Those who don't like it will leave on their own. Set thick boundary lines. Yeah. Yeah, thick, real thick. Like they learned the first time. That kind of boundary line.
Well, and it just depends, though. Hold on, let me put a pen there because I was gonna like type it in there, but it depends. Some people you need to get rid of. We like to hold on. Why am I holding on to a relationship that's not serving me? It's not benefiting me. It's not healthy. It's not helping. Like, some people, I just want to clarify this for everybody. Some people you need to get rid of. It's not helping you. Some people you need to take time away from. And that means I'm not talking to you in this season of my life. We're not really having conversations. I need to take time. And then there's some people that need boundaries. You really have to assess from a real place what category do those people fall into. One is, no, I need to get rid of you. It's I've outgrown the relationship. Yeah, it could be negative, but some people you just outgrow. Like, this just doesn't work for the season I'm in. I've outgrown this season with you, and it is okay. The season's up. Now we may
Okay,
talk.
okay. Let's break this down because I see where we at.
I'm just saying there's three.
See where we at. Ariana's getting excited, y'all. So you know what that means.
Oh God.
Um,
Okay, let me be quiet.
Ariana's getting excited, so y'all know what that means. So here, let's break this down because this is why we have the conversations about the truth about business, right? And the last thing we said is that people are afraid to not be liked, and we're a slave to, people's approval. Okay. And so your approval can come in a lot of different ways. We have approval from family members, approval from friends, approval from bosses, coworkers, right? There's different levels of approval, but most importantly, the biggest approval is from God himself and from you. Okay. So if you approve of yourself, then no one else's approval really matters, to be honest with you. But here's the thing. A lot of times we're slave to approval. And so being as though there are people in our lives in different seasons is what we call it. Okay. Which means that there could be someone that doesn't have negative energy. They're not a bad person. They don't, come with like really bad energy, but this person does not add or multiply your life. Okay. So let's just break that down. Let's just break that down, okay? Because let's put people in categories. Because we gotta have capacity for people. Let's just be honest. We gotta have capacity for people that you talk to every day, that you're around, that you spend time with, right? You gotta know, like, and one of the instructors that I had back in the day, he made a great example of this, okay? He said, imagine your circle, you're the circle, okay? So you're a circle. And I mean, your world is the circle and you are in the middle. I don't know if y'all can see that, but there's a dot in the middle. That's you. And then that's your world, right? And in your world, you have like all these different dots of people in your world. And I don't know if y'all can see those dots, but there's different like dots of people all around. And there may be people that are like right here in your life, right? That means that they're close to you. That could be a family member, a friend, it could be anybody, right? It's who you choose. And there's people that are like back here, okay? And this is what I think Sandra is saying. I think Sandra is saying that there are people in your life that you can keep in your life, but they're not like up here, like this close to you, right? And that's cool. That's cool. But here's the thing. Anyone in your circle, y'all, I don't care how far back, they should be either adding or multiplying your life. Okay? So I want y'all to do a little test. Okay? I don't care who it is in your life, family, friends, or whoever, because sometimes I think we kind of get stuck in this mode of, well, they've been in my life for so long. And so, they don't really, they're not bad person. They don't bring negative energy. So it's cool. But are they adding or multiplying your life? Like, what are they doing there? Right? Are they just holding space? Because at the end of the day, like I want to say this example. This is why I think a lot of people that get really successful in business, when they get to a certain level, there's just people that were able to come with them. And there were people that just knew them for all these years. And then they're like, oh, yeah, I knew them from back in the day. And they're like, oh, okay, we'll call them. Be like, oh, no, I ain't got their number. Oh, well, you're not connected to them? Nah, I haven't talked to them in years. Oh, why not? The reason is because at some point in time, that person had to be cut off of that branch, right? They had to be cut off in order for that person. It's like the boosters, they got to fall off the rocket, like Tyler Perry talks about, right? Like there are just some people that are just dead weight. It has nothing to do with the fact that they got to be negative. It has everything to do with they are not anywhere in your time frame that you have a focus for, okay? And we can elaborate on this a little bit more because we don't have enough time today. But I just wanted to say that because sometimes we feel like, okay, well, I don't want to cut people off because it's a bad thing. Like, who said they were going to be there forever? Like, whoever said that that person coming into your life on January the 2nd of 1996 was going to still be there July 15th of 2024? Who promised you that? Who actually said that they were supposed to actually be there for that long? And I think sometimes if we evaluate why people are in our lives and really look at our relationships better and start to focus on, well, this is how this person benefits my life, and this is why they are here. This is how this person multiplies my life. This is why they are here. Whether it's personally, professionally, or whatever the case may be, then I think we will have better perspective on who we need to cut off when that's necessary and who can kind of ride for the long run. Because even I have boundaries with Aarionna. Aarionna is growing with me. We're at the top of our game. We're both going higher heights together, and she's right there along with me for the ride. But I still have boundaries with Aarionna. That doesn't mean just because I have boundaries with her that she's a negative person. It's just, you got to have boundaries. All right.
And I agree. I agree with Sandra in the point of there are some people that will just fall off organically. There are some people, like if we're talking about family, then yes, I totally understand like some boundaries, but you also have to know yourself to really put in the proper boundaries that is going to allow you to move the way you need to move to do what you need to do. Like, and I think that's for me, it's because we have this really bad perception of what it takes to build a business. When you really talk to the people who are building businesses, it's a grind. It's seasons of people like, where you at? You're not saying nothing, but I'm grinding. I can't break no generational curses sitting up talking to you all day. I just can't. Not unless we're talking about what's the strategy and we're executing. So yes, there are different categories, and I do agree that some people with the right boundaries will just fall off. That's why I said it's just you have to think about those categories, and I think the analogy that you gave, Allegra, was really, really good. But just make sure they add in value. And I want to say this, and we'll definitely be done. Value can be happiness. It could be other things than just like business. There are people in my life that add value that helps me to operate at my highest capacity because they care about me. So they'll text me and say, "Hey friend, you good? What's going on? I see you killing it. I see you moving. Keep going. I'm praying for you." They're not necessarily like my biz bestie, but they add value to my life. They let me know that I'm supported and I have somebody who is watching and praying for me from afar. Like, so I want to be clear when we say add value, what add value to helping you be the best you that you can be and operate at the highest capacity that they know that you can operate at. But I do agree. I don't want to sound like I don't agree with her. I want to clarify that. Make sure you categorize these people because some people that are going to watch this, they need to get rid of some people. Like, baby, don't set no boundaries. The boundary is, hey, season's up, been up. I got to go. Peace out. I can't, the baggage is too much. Some people are, yes, I got to set these boundaries. Hey, I'm busy, I'm working, so on and so forth. So just know that. And yes, some people organically do fall off when you make those necessary changes, and that's the onus on us to make those changes. So I just think it's a really good conversation. Next week, y'all got to come back because it's gonna be lit. It's just so good. We pieces that we didn't even get to cover, things that we have uncovered that are really great, conversations for us as entrepreneurs. So let me know when we close out. I'll give my little spiel and we can roll.
Yeah, hard pill to swallow. We talked about, are you mature enough to be at the level you want to be on? And I think that that's always a thought process for us all, right? Like, we live this thing just like we learn it. And just making sure that, you know what's required of you to get the education, to get the type of people around you that you need to get. And this is stuff that I think we know this. Like, we know these things. We understand that there's going to take a lot more of us, but what does that look like for you? So really identifying that today, I think, is so true. Whether it's, also being able to identify if you are a slave. We didn't even talk about stress or money. Like, are you a slave to stress? Are you a slave to money? Are you a slave to people's approval? We talk more about people's approval, and I think that was really important because if you are a people pleaser, I'm just raw about it, right? Because if you're a people pleaser, just saying, oh well, I'll just put some boundaries up. It's not that easy. It's not that simple. Okay. And I think sometimes, and you started it out, Ari, how mature are you to identify what it is that you need? Sometimes we're so messed up in our minds that we really need to get more help than we think, right? And that's just the truth. And so if you're a people pleaser, you're just like, oh, I'll just put up some boundaries. Child, they will manipulate the crap out of you, right? And get you right back in that people pleasing state. And so we have to be honest about ourselves and where we are in our development. Being in so this is what I say too, because I'm going to be doing the series again back on the 9 to 5 and getting over that mentality. And this is just talking about the same simple things that matter, whether it's managing yourself, managing, people around you, getting to a place where you're understanding how to get support in growing your business. We have our SBA mentor, the corporate partner for WIN, Miss Ernest Cummings. She came aboard because I needed support, and I went right to the SBA, right? And sometimes when we leave our 9 to 5s, we're just like, oh, let me just start the business. We don't go to the local support systems that's already in place to get our business off the ground, to learn what we need to do step by step. We don't write the business plan. We don't do the budgeting. So we know, well, this is how much I'm going to need to run the business. Like, those are simple things that usually people, like if you're really methodical, you're not going to overlook. But a lot of times we're coming from a place of trauma and from a place of haste. Like, oh, I got to make money. Oh, I just want to be a business owner. Oh, everybody's doing it, so let me do it. So we're going to be talking about that 9 to 5 mentality and just getting over that first. So you're not so rushed into trying to be this glamorized business owner without doing the real work. Aarionna, anything that we need to leave with? And of course, any offers that you have for the audience on this wonderful Cyber Monday.
Yes, I do. I have. I'm like posting about them now as I'm late on that, but I'm opening up my business minded mastermind. It is $100 off the membership today, so definitely check out all my socials to get access to that membership, that mastermind. And then I do have one more. I put together a really, really special one-on-one bundle. I have one more spot left, literally. So I'm opening that back up just for these 24 hours. It's going to end at midnight. The membership price will go back to regular. The bundle will not be available ever again. It literally was just my Black Friday bundle. So essentially, a lot of stuff we talked about here. If you need to get clear, you need to clarify your vision, you need to get your mind right, you need to deal with whatever those mental blocks are, and then really learn how to impact people with your business, with your message, and all that good stuff. The membership is about to be so lit, and that one-on-one is like a crazy deal. So definitely I'll drop it right now. I'm going to copy and paste, drop it in the comments of this. But yeah, listen, y'all, come back next Monday. It's going to be fire. Make sure y'all listen. This is what I did say over the weekend. I did a live. Do not be out here buying Christmas gifts and knew this and knew that, and you didn't spend one penny on investing in what's going to help you get further in life. I don't care if it's a book. I don't care if it's an ebook. I don't care if it's a course, if it's a class, if it's a coach. But don't you dare, and I've done it for years, it's ignorant, have an influx of money or have saved your money and you didn't spend one dime on investing in something that was actually going to help you multiply. That's ignorance. That Christmas gift ain't gonna help you multiply. And I know because these kids get them gifts and they play with it for 2 seconds, baby. And every year I'm like, I'm not buying no more. Okay. So that is my last you better have invested at least at $20, $25, $100 on something that's going to help you multiply your mindset, your income, your spiritual growth, something. If not, you wasted it.
Great advice. Thank you, Ari. Y'all connect with her for the Cyber Monday deals, Cyber Week deals. I myself, I've listened to my audience and my clients. They've been struggling with a lot of technology. This is why I'm bringing up this problem with maturity, because a lot of times we're just not talking about what the real issue is, right? And then we pay thousands and thousands of dollars in these coaching programs, and then all of a sudden, the coach goes, "What? You don't know how to do that?" So here's the thing: for most people, in programs, you're not going to necessarily get the support that people tell you that they're going to give you. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. That's why they say the coaching industry is in shambles. You go through a program, they tell you what to do, but then they don't show you or guide you, and then you're stuck. So I'm going to be doing some technology classes, and this is something that has been so helpful for a lot of people that are that have never used some of these things before. Like, if you're like, "Oh, I don't know how to set up my LinkedIn and use my LinkedIn," right? We have people that'll teach you stuff all the time. They'll be like, "Oh no, I'll teach you how to set up your LinkedIn, or I'll do it for you." And you still kind of are super confused about how to do things even after you purchase the services, because most of the time they're like, "Oh, I'll walk you through a workshop." And then you're like, what just happened? The same thing that, when it comes down to website. And the reason I know this is because I've walked people through these trainings in my program. And some of the responses I've gotten is like, "Oh my God, Allegra, like I now know how to do A, B, and C." And that relief of the pressure of feeling like I can't independently run my business without having to go to a person to do this for me. That's a lot of stress. Like, to always have to depend on someone to show you what to do. Like, I just literally showed one of my clients how to do a remix on a reel. That's technology. Like, this is something that when we say don't be afraid to ask the right questions, this is something that we're talking about. So I'm going to be doing the workshops. They're going to be offered to, of course, for the WIN members, because you're all listening to this as well. You will get your opportunity as a member. I believe we have it posted where you can use your membership to get in those technology classes. So get in there, right? And learn about this, because we're going to start from the basics. And it doesn't matter if you have a website, if you have a Calendly, if you have a Clubhouse, which is mainly what we get a lot of questions about. How do I use Clubhouse? What are the technicalities behind that? A young lady was talking about Club Deck. Oh, her Club Deck's not working. How do I use my Club Deck? So these are things that, and be honest with you, when I think about technical stuff, a lot of the time it's not even about even the fact that you don't know how to do it. It's the fact that you don't want to take the time to call someone so that they can walk you through it too. Like, that's crazy, because Wix, every time I get on the phone with them, StreamYard, every time I get on the phone with them, Shopify, every time I try to reach out for support, guess what? I end up looking at the clock and it's 5 hours later in my day. So we feel the pain, y'all. So just make sure that you use your membership to get in those technology classes. And we'll drop those links afterwards. And of course, for my business mastery members, it's always complimentary. Y'all, we got to get out of here. And next week, we're going to come back because we have some more to talk to you about. The truth about business is that, of course, we need to track our successes because it's hard enough. We always talking about what's not working. So let's talk about what's working every day. But also, we're going to talk about this next week, Aarionna, the team building. When do y'all think it's a good time to start building your team and adding support in your business? And if you are in business and you don't work with anyone to support you, why not? I want to know those answers to those questions for next week. All right, we got to get out of here. Y'all have an amazing day.